You have spent years working hard, staying disciplined, and watching your bank account with a mixture of hope and frustration. But let us be honest, life often looks exactly the same as it did a decade ago. You still wake up to the same alarm, commute the same route, and feel that same quiet anxiety when the bills arrive. Most people assume that if they do not feel wealthy right now, they must still be decades away from financial freedom. But what if that assumption is fundamentally wrong? What if there is a hidden tipping point where wealth does not just grow steadily, but suddenly starts accelerating faster than your own paycheck? That moment exists, and for many of you watching, it is much closer than you think. Progress in building wealth is notoriously difficult to spot when you are in the thick of the journey. You see a few $100s of growth here and 1,000 there, but it never seems to match the sheer number of hours you put in at the office. This is exactly why so many people give up just as they are about to cross the finish line. They are focused on the daily grind, while their money is quietly building the momentum needed to take over the heavy lifting. We have all heard the old cliches that the first $10,000 is the hardest, or that things speed up once you hit 100,000. While those milestones are meaningful, they are just broad rules of thumb that do not tell the whole story. There is a much more powerful and specific psychological shift lurking just beyond those numbers. It is the moment when the financial rules of your life change completely. In the beginning, your progress is mostly linear because it is tied directly to your personal effort. If you want to save more, you have to work more hours or cut your spending even further. At this stage, your money is not yet creating wealth that grows on its own in any noticeable way. This is because the majority of your early savings is simply the result of your own manual contributions. Your paycheck is loud, obvious, and tangible. It hits your bank account every 2 weeks and pays for the roof over your head and the food on your table. But your investment portfolio is different. It is quiet money. It does not walk in the door with a direct deposit or a pat on the back from your boss. It flows in bursts, and for a long time, the numbers feel like pocket change compared to the effort you exert. Check your portfolio after the first few years, and you might see a few $100s in added growth. You might shrug it off, thinking that it is not really doing anything yet. But at a certain point, everything shifts. The slow, invisible growth reaches a threshold where it starts to matter in a way you can actually feel in your soul. So when exactly does this tipping point happen? It happens at the precise moment your investments generate more in a single year than you earn at your full-time job. If you earn $50,000 per year, the tipping point is when your investments earn $50,000 on average. Imagine this for a moment. Without working a single extra hour, without landing a promotion, and without a side hustle, your portfolio starts out-earning your paycheck. That is when wealth stops crawling forward and starts compounding in a way that feels exponential. There will be no congratulations from your supervisor and no alert on your banking app to tell you that you have arrived. In fact, most people miss this moment because it creeps up gradually, buried in reinvested dividends and market fluctuations. It is subtle, but beyond this point, your money is working harder than you ever could yourself. The real reason most people do not notice it is that the markets rarely move in a straight line. Some years it overshoots and some years it dips. Because of this volatility, it is easy to feel discouraged even when you are winning. That is why it is better to focus on a portfolio target rather than the daily gains. If your goal is $50,000 in annual returns, you should aim for a portfolio value of $500,000, assuming a 10% average return. Once you reach that milestone, the numbers become more predictable and the foundation is finally solid. Let us put this into perspective with a real-world example. Imagine you earn $50,000 per year and consistently contribute $6,000 to your investments. During the first year, your growth might be a mere $300. By year 5, it might be $4,000. At first, it feels like pennies in a bucket, and you might ask yourself why you even bother. This is the danger zone where many people decide to stop saving and spend that money on a new car or a vacation instead. But those people do not realize that compounding does not stay small forever. Each year builds on the last, slowly adding momentum like a snowball rolling down a hill. Before you know it, that small growth turns into $10,000, which is enough to cover your rent or a car payment for the entire year. And the best part is that you did not have to lift a finger for it. Eventually, your portfolio starts generating $50,000 or more in a single year. What makes this so remarkable compared to your salary is that this is essentially friction-free money. There are no commuting costs, no professional wardrobe expenses, and no office politics eating into this income. With a paycheck, after taxes and bills, there is often very little left to grow. But with portfolio income, the full amount can stay invested, continually compounding and building your legacy. Your money has essentially become an alternate version of yourself that works tirelessly in the background. This version of you never sleeps, never burns out, and never calls in sick. Every year, it deposits a steady chunk of wealth straight into your future. Most people never anticipate reaching this point because they are trapped in the mindset of trading hours for dollars. But once it happens, it shifts your entire perspective on what is possible. Your attention moves away from survival and towards strategy. You stop asking how much you can earn and start asking how efficiently your money can work for you. And unlike a job, this portfolio income does not stop once it matches your paycheck. If your money is invested in the broad market, that clone income effectively doubles roughly every 7 to 10 years. Think about the power of that. Imagine your boss announced that your salary would double every 7 years without you taking on any extra responsibilities. It sounds like a myth in the corporate world, but it is exactly how compounding works in the financial world. Every deposit you make gives your clone more resources to work with. What felt gradual at first begins to accelerate at a mind-blowing pace. Suddenly, spending a few $100s does not feel like hours of labor anymore. It feels like a simple choice between using the money now or letting it grow quietly for later. This tipping point is also a preview of the ultimate milestone, true financial independence. This is when you have enough invested to fully fund your lifestyle for the rest of your life using the 4% rule. That stage feels mythical to most, but when your portfolio out-earns your paycheck, you glimpse it for the first time. It is the ultimate proof that human effort has a ceiling, but capital does not. If you are not paying attention, you might miss the moment when your wealth really starts to take off. But once you see it, it changes every decision you make. It removes the pressure from your day-to-day finances and replaces it with a profound sense of peace. The conversations you have with your spouse about money become less about stress and more about dreams. You realize that you are no longer just an employee. You are the architect of your own freedom. The journey to the first million is often described as a grueling climb, and it is. But the journey to the second million is a different story entirely. It happens much faster because you are no longer the one doing all the work. The habits you built in the early years, the discipline, the patience, and the consistency have finally paid off. So if you are currently in the slow climb and wondering if it is worth it, I am here to tell you that it is. Do not let the quietness of your early progress fool you into thinking nothing is happening. Below the surface, the roots are growing deep and strong. Keep feeding the machine, stay the course, and trust the math. Your tipping point is coming, and it will be the most rewarding moment of your financial life. The question is not if you will get there, but if you have the patience to wait for the momentum to build. When your money finally starts working harder than you do, you will realize that every sacrifice was a down payment on your freedom. Take a deep breath and look at your progress not in days, but in decades. You are closer than you were yesterday, and tomorrow your money will be even stronger than it is today. Stay consistent, stay focused, and I will see you at the tipping point.